Well, Rory, thank you for joining us and coming along and during what is a very busy IMEX. How's it been for you so far?
It's been warm. No, it's been great. I mean, it's great to be back in Frankfurt. The place is buzzing. I think this is one of our busiest trade shows in the last number of years. The amount of appointments we have, the external activities that we're taking part in. So yeah, it's fantastic, and it's going to be exhausting by the end of the week.
Fantastic. And in terms, partners, have you got more partners than before, or how?
No, it's same, roughly about 14 partners, but the demand for Scotland seems to has risen, and the quality of the buyers is quite incredible. So yeah, we're hearing reports from Edinburgh, from Glasgow, from Aberdeen that we're having record amounts of appointments.
And in particular, sort of information or lowdown you can give us on what's going on in Scotland at the moment. How are things going? How's business been?
Yeah, well, business has been phenomenal, and I know that everybody says that, everyone says we're busy, but 2024 is going to be a record year for business events, not just in any one city, but across the entire country. So business has been incredible. But that makes us have to work harder because we need to ensure that we keep those levels going. We need to ensure that we're doing as much as we can, that those type of events that come in are doing the very best for the climate crisis, that they are socially responsible, and that puts on a lot more work and a lot more thought process for how do we make sure we maintain the levels of business, but we do that responsibly in the future years.
So sustainability then obviously is high on the agenda, or how involved is Visit Scotland on the sustainability side in terms of working with your regional convention bureaus as well as the venues as well?
Yeah. Well, I've got to say the regional convention bureaus and the venues, they are the experts. You know, if you go to the Scottish Event Campus in Glasgow, they know the inner workings of that venue inside out. They can tell you the carbon emissions of a fridge in their kitchens. So they are the experts on how to run their facilities and their cities green. Glasgow is also part of the Global Sustainability Index. All of our conference centres have sustainability teams in place, which did not exist probably 6-7 years ago. So that's been a massive transition, a legacy from COP26. Our role at Visit Scotland is to signpost, to advocate, to champion for doing things better. So we are not the experts on sustainability. That's not our role, but our role is to champion and encourage and to help signpost where you can find the information that you need, either as a venue, a supplier, a partner, or as a client on how to run those events sustainably. Because we firmly believe that we need to get a handle on this. We can't wait for direction. We need to drive this ourselves to ensure that we have an industry fit for purpose in future years.
And how has the event landscape actually changed, the business events, since COVID actually? Have you seen major changes since then?
Oh, absolutely. I think people's values changed over COVID. There was a realization of the impact that we are, not our industry, but we as human beings are having on the planet, and how quickly things repaired themselves when we weren't doing anything for 2 years. We also saw a change in values and how we treat people. So I see that the landscape changing in that people are much more conscious about running an event sustainably with the climate crisis top of mind, but they also want to be reaching out and making impact within our local communities. So if you go to Glasgow, to Edinburgh, to Aberdeen, to Dundee, they all work with local organisations. That could be academic institutions, social enterprises, charities, local government, to create public outreach elements. So that could be to educate members of the public on little known diseases that they should be looking out for. It could be hypertension, encouraging people to make sure you check your blood pressure all the time, to educating about soil science and the climate crisis into schools, or getting young girls into STEM careers when we have those events coming in. And that's how I see it's changed. Now, don't get me wrong, not every single event is like that. And for the events that say actually cost is our top one priority or sustainability is a nice to have, it's our job to re-educate and to showcase what are the benefits if you go down this route rather than this route. Because at the end of the day, we want to protect our country, but we also want to protect everywhere else. Because if we're not at the same standard from Scotland to the US to China to France, any country, we all have to be the same standard in order to fight this.
Yeah, and you're finding in terms of what buyers are looking for in an RFP, their requests are changing quite a bit. They're more focused on sustainability.
Yeah, sustainability is in there. It's in a lot of RFPs. We've still got a long way to go. There are still events out there that don't consider it a priority. We're also seeing RFPs with community outreach being put in there, diversity, equity and inclusion policies being put in there. So we're seeing this changing, and this is changing rapidly. I mean, we feel that COVID was a long time ago. It wasn't. And in the grand scheme of things and how long our industry has existed, in 4 short years, we've completely transformed what our priorities were. We always thought it was cultural experiences when you go to destinations, and now that's 100% true, and it's still our priority, but sustainability, DEI, and community outreach are fast becoming the areas that people are concerned about.
So that was going to be my next point about DEI in terms of, is Scotland very inclusive? Are you seeing a big shift in that as well, in a positive manner?
Absolutely, and again, I need to caveat this by saying that we are not perfect. We're not the global experts on the climate crisis. We're not the global experts on diversity, equity, and inclusion. The important elements are that we learn from our mistakes and we take action and we move forward. And I'm very privileged to live in a country that is so diverse, that respects human rights. As a member of the LGBT community, Scotland has been so supportive of the community and transforming rights, bringing in equality and equity over the last 15 to 20 years. And we see that progressive. We have a progressive government in place that are trying to make changes. They don't always get it right, but they look back, they correct, and we move forward. But the government won't do everything. We have to drive that ourselves. So when we do bring events into Scotland, we learn from different cultures, we break down barriers, we get rid of stereotypes, we eliminate fear, and that's how we move progression forward into our country, into any country. If we get the public involved in the events that are taking place, and that exposes them to new cultures and helps that DEI aspect, not just from an industry, but from a societal point of view.
And on those factors, those key parts, are you finding there's a particular trend in the types of events you're starting to attract, or has there been any particular shift in terms of even towards certain economic sectors as well?
Not particularly, I'm not going to lie. Our association business is huge in Scotland, but corporate incentive is also huge, and we're not really seeing a change in the types of events that are coming in. We're seeing a change in behaviour. I would say the association market is much more advanced with this, and corporate incentive are on a journey, but there's more that we could do with both elements of the markets that come into Scotland.
And connectivity-wise, are you seeing a lot of sort of airlines, international airlines coming into Glasgow, Edinburgh in particular?
Oh, absolutely. And I know it's slightly hypocritical to talk about sustainability and then talk about air routes, but we are an island nation. But yeah, we've, I think, going through Edinburgh to come here, I was listening to the calls, and it was Philadelphia, Boston, New York, and Chicago and Washington DC, just on the west coast. Then we had Toronto. We also have Halifax. We launched new flights to Beijing, which are a summer route with a Chinese airline. Emirates have just confirmed they're coming back daily into Edinburgh from Dubai from November, and Qatar never stopped their twice daily direct Doha flight. And if you look at things like New York, I think it's 3 or 4 flights a day that come into Edinburgh. So genuinely, and I used to say this as a bit of a marketing spin, but now it's true, anywhere in the world, you're in Scotland with a maximum of 1 stop.
And talking about signalling out Neil, in particular Neil Brownlee, his appointment obviously going to be future the president of PCMA.
Yes.
What is that going to add? Do you think what do you think I'll do for Scotland as a whole? His appointment and that as the first non-American to that position?
Absolutely. He's Mr. Brownlee, but he's also known as Mr. Scotland. And so when he's on stage, now as chair of PCMA, you're not there to sell a nation, but the accent and the tartan truths kind of give it away sometimes. So it's great positioning for Scotland to be in a leadership position to one of the world's best business events associations. So I cannot stress enough how much we have learned from PCMA, how much we've learned from Sheriff and the team over the years. It's helped change our thinking, and I think having Neil on board as leading that organisation for a year, we're going to learn so much from that, as well as hopefully be able to showcase this is some of the stuff that we've done, and this might help move these different areas of the industry forward.
So, any particular infrastructure developments going on at the moment? Any new hotels or centres on the horizon?
Yes, we just had the first W hotel in Scotland open in the city centre in Edinburgh that has a rooftop bar overlooking the castle. The first sushi samba, which I'd only ever experienced in Vegas, and now we have it in Edinburgh. There are hotels opening. Virgin Hotel opened up last year in Edinburgh as well, which is a fantastic property. Places like Gleneagles just recently completed like £150 million refurbishment. So there's new things being developed, but also a replenishment of the products that are already existing to ensure that we're giving people the very best experiences.
And this may not be your side of things, but from looking at the incentive market, is Scotland, is that an important part of your business as well, the incentive travel market?
Oh, it's huge, absolutely huge. Particularly for our resort hotels are outside of the city centre, so like the Fairmonts, the Old Coast Hotel in St Andrews, Gleneagles, Turnberry on the west coast, Cameron House in Loch Lomond. The incentive market is massive, huge from Europe and huge from North America, and it has increased tenfold. We're hearing from our DMCs that they are just run off their feet because of how busy they are. When I fly quite a lot with work, and every time I check into Edinburgh Airport, it is American accents. So Scotland has become even more popular than it was before the pandemic with incentives.
And obviously the cultural heritage, obviously Scotland's known for so many things. I mean, how do you embrace those into your events, and do you use a lot of the local community to get involved?
Absolutely. I mean, we say that when you come to Scotland, it's not just about hearing about our history, it's about experiencing our history. If you want to go to Stirling Castle, which was the homes of the kings and queens of Scotland for centuries, you can dine in the Great Hall where kings and queens had dined. You can have bagpipers coming in. I've seen grown people cry when we do a beat to the retreat outside of Edinburgh Castle and the Esplanade before you enter through the portcullis in the evening with the fires going, and they come outside unexpecting to see a full military pipe band, and they then do their beat the retreat. So embracing our culture, our heritage is so key to what Scotland does, and we're proud of it. We have an incredible history. We've got a history that I say hands down beats any other history in the world. We've had so much influence over how the world has developed, from modern surgery to the train to the TV to the phone. We say that everything was invented in Scotland, and we stand by that statement. But we're also seeing a shift for the incentive market, that they want to work with local charities, they want to work with local social enterprises. So there's one in Scotland called Invisible Cities, and they help take people who've experienced homelessness, they train them in being tour guides of their city, they help with accommodation, they help get them back on their feet, and then you get one of the most genuine tours of a city that you'll ever experience, because they know that city probably better than anyone. But then spending that money, making that small decision to go with a social enterprise to do your tour, directly helps take people off the street.
Well, listen, thank you so much, Rory, for giving us a bit of an update on what's going on in Scotland, and wishing you a good show.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you so much.